any Zoom or closed captioning today. Apparently it doesn't like the cold weather either. Um, Today, please join us for Koya and the coffee hour for Super Sunday fundraiser during the coffee hour. Proceeds benefit the International Institute of Akron. And come get warmed up with yummy homemade soup. They're working on it right now. Check out the bookstore while you enjoy your soup. Social Justice Council meets today at 12:15 in the library. Tuesday is a board meeting in 403 at 6 p.m. Wednesday, 6 p.m. stove soup with homemade lasagna. Bring a side salad or a dessert with yourself. Connection circles begin. There are still a few spaces left. Connection circles are a great way to get to know fellow Unitarian Universalist members on a deeper level. See Becky Emsworth, there she is back there, during the coffee hour. Saturday, February 14th at 11 a.m., join us for Valentine's brunch. Not to celebrate a Hallmark holiday, but to feel love, share a meal, get together, talk or play a game, no to-do list, just breaking bread and enjoying one another's company. We come RSVP to Angie Laakso at ASLAAKSO@gmail.com. And she also has a phone number. You can call her. If you need a ride, let Angie or the office know, and we'll do our best to help. Excuse me. Next Sunday at UUCA, Child Dedication Ceremony. Please make sure you have connected with Abby if you wish to participate. Hope for Us conflict resolution circles, discussion and feedback sessions are at 12:15 next Sunday. Welcoming new friends, UU class with Reverend Josh, following coffee hour next Sunday. Bring your questions. Okay. Additional details, links, and more information can be found in our weekly email and on our website, www.uuakron.org, or visit us on Facebook. Okay. My name is Bev Hurd, and I serve on the Board of Trustees. My pronouns are she, her. I choose to share pronouns because I want this to be a very inclusive space for all. Whoever you are and wherever you have come from, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Akron welcomes you. We are delighted that you have joined us this morning, and it is our hope that all will find a place of peace, harmony, and dignity. We offer a special welcome to anyone who is new to our congregation. Please contact the church office if you would like to learn more about us, or visit our website, uuakron.org. We gather here on ancestral lands of other people, some of whose names have been lost to time and knowledge, of abundant hunting and fishing grounds and training paths in Erie and Haudenosaunee, of lands sought as refuge by the Lenape of the coastal pine barrens, who came seeking a home of peaceful existence. We are on the lands of trees and rivers, of abundant forests and great waters. May we, in our living and gathering here, honor this home of many, commit to repairing our relationship to the land and native people, and live in gratitude for its gifts. And I read it backwards, and that was just we have a few amenities this evening. The announcements are on this side. I think we're right with that. Okay. So now we're going to wind down. Welcome. Please stand up. You can go talk to people, meet greet people, and say good morning.
more love somewhere. Please rise in ways that you are able. To this place, which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strength, fears and anxieties, love and hope. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, and compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a place. Our challenge writing for this morning is by David Breeden. May we find the patience to forgive ourselves, to forgive those who do not do as we wish. May we find patience to let be. May we find the wisdom of compassion, reason, and sharing. May we find peace inside ourselves. May we be peace for those around us. And may we renew our commitment to bring peace with justice to the community and the world. Our libations ritual hails from African and Earth-centered tradition. We gather in covenant bound not by creed, but by promise. A promise to keep showing up, to keep learning, to keep turning toward love, even when it is hard. Today we pour this water for forgiveness, not as forgetting, not as erasing, but as committing ourselves to the work of repair. We pour for those who have been harmed by systems of racism and oppression, including within our own communities. May this water carry our sorrow, our outrage, and our commitment to do better. And we pour for those who have caused harm, knowingly or unknowingly, including ourselves. May this water remind us that forgiveness is not an end, but a path that we have together. Please rise in the ways that you are able. Let us be together in one voice as we are together in one covenant. The words of our unison affirmation will appear first in Spanish and then in English. May be seated. Please remain seated as we sing out our kids and youth to their SE classes. The words will
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. If you'd like, you may come forward and light a candle in silence as an expression of special joy or sorrow. celebrate with those who have experienced joy, and we hold in our hearts those who struggle in the midst of sorrow. Amen.
Alfred North Whitehead said that religion is what we do with our aloneness. Let us take a moment to sit up straight in our chairs, plant your feet on the floor to connect you to the earth. Close your eyes if you wish, or leave them just slightly open if you prefer. And slowly take in breath and gently release it, seeing all of the stress of relief. Allow the silence of the next few moments to seep into your mind and heart, making room for new feelings, thoughts, and emotions to enter in. Our reading today is from Reverend Dr. Sophia Bettencourt, president of the UUA. This is from a new book that she sort of writes the introductory essay to, and it's actually a series of essays from various colleagues about, it's called Love at the Center, reflecting on the values of Unitarian Universalism. What I'm going to read to you today appears in the UU World article, UU World magazine. I'm not sure which issue, but you may have read this. But she writes, in a gathering of ministers convened, I don't remember when, and I'm not certain where, breathless from the airport and already feeling out of my depth, disorganized, vaguely fraudulent, and ill-prepared, I froze when our convener, warm and smiling, lit the chalice and invited us forward one by one for a ritual. Ah! I suddenly remembered this had been described to us in the meeting's invitation weeks before. We'd been asked to write a microscopic sermon, one or two short sentences, and share it in the circle as a blessing for our colleagues and for our association, which was then, as now, as ever, as always in my definition, in a time of change and deep discernment regarding whence we come and how and whither. This convening was about that. The ritual would anchor our discussions. Quiet music began, and I squirmed and fretted in my seat. How had I forgotten this assignment? For our opening chalice service, please come prepared to share with your colleagues in just a few words what it is you hope the people will receive on Sunday morning in your congregation service, whether they are visitors or lifelong members, elders or young children. What for you is the essence of our faith? What gospel are you preaching? That I'd forgotten, because after all this time, years and years and torrents of words, I had not yet formed an articulate answer, not yet risked an honest and convincing, to me, answer. One by one, my colleagues spoke, movingly, courageously, some in Sunday voices, thoughtful and well-reasoned, some halting and tearfully, all generous and kind. No bluster here, no rhetorical flourishes or arrogant edges, but only grace. Amazingly, their words anointed us. The crumbled cards and the scribbled slips of paper in their hands placed like offerings upon the altar. There was no pulpit here to hide behind. There were no robes or stoles to shroud us. One by one, these ministers, old and young, people I'd known and admired for so long, and many I didn't know, their blessings, multiple vulnerability deep inside themselves, with integrity that was at once heartbreaking and heartening. They testify. The softening silence after each one was like a kind of sacrament. Then and there, decades past my ordination, I was converted a little. The Unitarian Universalism I had not known before nor trusted could exist. One by one, my colleagues spoke of love. I've never been an extemporaneous preacher. I really don't know how or why I spoke the words I did when my turn came. Somehow I heard myself telling them and meaning it urgently, you are the love of God. Who was it who said that preachers preach unfailingly sermons that they themselves most need to hear? You're right. This is what she shares what she wrote. You are beloved of God. It is so easy to forget this. Our calling on this earth is to remember and remind each other with every move we make, every action, every breath. Our calling is to remember and remind each other without ceasing who we are and what we do love. Something like that. I scribbled it in pen on the palm of my hand and soon sweated it away. It was not a sermon I'd ever preached before directly. These were not words I'd ever chosen, having stepped gingerly for years and perhaps a bit too nimbly through the theological minefields of congregational semantic life, always skating on the surfaces, not quite diving in. But here, unexpectedly, with the compelling power and solace, blessed assurance of my comrade's benediction on my head, I realized that for me, this is the heart of it, this implicit, inherited, belovedness. Behind the silky scrim of woven words each week lay this hope, this intention, this aching aspiration, that whether they believed in God or not, whether or not I did, the people would know themselves beloved, which is to say, worthy. The place, that the poet says in the family of things, a place no more and no less exalted than anyone's place, the place of the grasses, the trees, the birds of the air, fish of the sea, a holy, undisputed, rightful place on this, our common ground. Know themselves, know ourselves, beloved without question, in this place where we begin. And from there, by our actions, by our choices, by our arts, by our risks, by our work in tears and prayers and mutual support, by our solidarity and singing, lullabies to children and chanting in the streets, by our tenderness, and when it is required, rage, by our love, in other words, to remind each other, this is our calling in the world. I've not been a minister long enough, I've not been a person long enough to know much about God at all, but I believe we are called to move through our days as if we are beloved of God, as if we all belong to ourselves and everyone else and every living thing. And when I say you are beloved of God, I mean you are beloved, of course, just as you are. I care a great deal about the precision of language and theological speech in particular, and I know the lethal and life-giving potency of words and the ease with which sloppily chosen words may be weaponized or misunderstood. And yet, I don't want precision or theology or semantics to get in the way of this conviction, this hunch, this simple, somewhat radical, to the root, claim about love. As music and dancing, paintings, poems, and prayers insist, metaphor speaks sometimes with more fluency, more light, more prophetic possibility, and more pastoral tenderness than the deadening thud of literal prosaic explanations. Long enough. I've not been a person long enough to know much about God at all, but I believe we're called to move through our days as if we are beloved of God, as if we all belong, we ourselves, and everyone else, and every living thing. Of course you are, just as you are. And now, here, in this unlikely, perhaps unreplicated, gorgeous world, this shimmering, sorrowing world, we exist together. No scientist, no sorcerer, no sacred text has ever fully told us why or how it happened in its existence. Whether we ask our whole lives long in the idiom of astrophysics or child's orgasmic wonder, we are here now. We all belong. We love it. And therefore, my work, whether imperfect at the end of the day, my work and my joy is to strive to act accordingly, as if in your presence, whoever you are, wherever you are on this earth, I were in the presence of the Holy. I have no other words to describe it. This love that guides us, calls us, fuels us, and holds us in peace. At this time, we will collect the offering for the work of this church. However, Brian reminded me this week that, given that it is February, Black History Month, that a word should probably be said about what we do with reparations and what that's all about. So I just wanted to some of you probably heard this before, but it may be new to others. Paying reparations, when playing or singing spirituals, acknowledges the historical injustices faced by Black communities. And while most composers benefit from financial recognition for their creations, the creators of spirituals, whose music shaped and continues to influence American culture and our worship services, were never paid for their contributions. By donating to YPAW, the Youth Excellence Performing Arts Workshop, an Akron area group that empowers youth through the performing arts, we are paying it forward. This reparative act honors the legacy of those who were denied recognition and compensation, and it helps support the next generation of artists, fostering creativity through the arts. Practically speaking, there's a box on the piano that Brian will hold up where you can make your donation to YPAW and the work of reparations. Thank you for your generosity. At a conversation amongst my UU minister colleagues, we got to bemoaning an old chestnut that Unitarian Universalists can believe anything they want. Now, if you've been a UU for any length of time, you've no doubt heard this, or maybe even said it, having preached a number of sermons over the years, as you might guess from the color and length of my beard. I'm sure I've said it before, or words to that effect. It's bemoaned now, I believe, for a couple of reasons. The main one, I think, is it's kind of glib and more than a little dismissive, right? You just believe it if you want. Secondly, it just isn't true historically. Kind of like judging a book by the cover of the 45th edition of the book. Part of the issue is that this often kind of becomes a little bit of an intellectual exercise where people pose various theological or philosophical ideas to see if that goes along with Unitarian Universalism. Can you be Jewish and be a Unitarian Universalist? Can you be atheist, Buddhist, or pagan? Those are kind of easy. But then they start really trying to push it a little bit, right? Well, what about Hindu? What about Satanist? What about MAGA? What about a Groiper? That's when things start to break down a little bit. So how do you get out of this trap, right? Well, one of his colleagues made a suggestion. Don't make it so theological. That's an arm's length. Let's use an example that really gets at what Unitarian Universalism and is all about, or what Unitarian Universalists truly care about. Something near and dear to our heart. That's right, I'm talking about coffee hour. Now, both one of our Unitarian ancestors, Rod Serling, creator of the Twilight Zone, imagine, if you will, a scene perhaps from a Unitarian Universalist Twilight Zone episode. A person walks into Hannah Hall to get coffee, so overjoyed at the service that in celebration they begin to pick up, throw, and break coffee cups. Indeed, they proclaim in the midst of this rather loud and raucous smashing of dishes that this is an integral part of their belief system and spiritual practice. The question posed to us colleagues then was, how many coffee cups go down before somebody does anything about it? 1? 20? More than that? Take a moment. Close your eyes if you want to. Just imagine. What would happen if that scenario presented itself to you? It's a wiggly little thought experiment, isn't it? Tolerance of another person's ideas isn't so far off in the abstract when it happens in coffee hour. Now, just in case there are any wiseacres out there, as my mom would call you, you think that they might try and do this at coffee hour in a minute? Let me tell you what would happen. If you've ever seen Hall of Fame linebacker Ray Lewis go across the middle on some rookie running back, that's close to the power of the tackle that Bedford will put on you. So let's just think about it. According to church lawyers, I'm now free of all legal responsibilities. That PSA aside, what did you imagine? Who? Were you the one who stepped in and did something? Did you do something physically? Restrain them or stop blocking? Or did you talk to the person? You keep a running tab on how many cups were broken at $10 a cup. Who do I send this invoice to? Or did your eyes follow the trajectory of the thrown mud so that you could see where the broken pieces flew? That way you could hurriedly collect them or sweep them up for someone, particularly child, near a table of sweets like the fruit. Or perhaps you're a laissez-faire libertarian. Breaking coffee cups is their thing? So be it. Now, to be clear, I don't know what the right answer is as to how many coffee cups one should allow to be broken before you do something. However, I think whatever one's answer is, it is very self-revealing. This cup-throwing person might say something like, well, my belief is that breaking coffee cups after worship helps me attain a kind of spiritual euphoria. And it isn't my intention to harm anyone. So you achieve some kind of personal, private benefit from this belief? Well, good for you. Glad you attained China-smashing Valhalla for yourself. But the rest of us here literally have to clean up your mess. When I was in seminary, there was a little kitchenette in the basement where someone hung a sign that said, "Thou art responsible for thine own theology and thine own dishes." Now, you may adhere to the belief of smashing coffee cups, but if you practice that belief in a specific way, in a specific context, it could hurt others. At your own house, go smash away, wear steel-toed boots, have yourself a ball when it's only you who has to sweep up later and eat off paper plates. But, and here's the point I want to take away. Your personal beliefs can affect other people when you put them into practice. You might not intend for that to happen. The person throwing cups isn't doing so because they hate children, but the unintended consequences of those actions could be that someone gets hurt. It puts everybody, our kids included, in danger of broken glass and ceramic. Intending to or not, makes little difference to the person who actually gets cut by a sharpened glass from a coffee cup. It's interesting because breaking coffee cups affects us all, really. Our beliefs can have those unintended consequences that hurt others. And when confronted with that reality, with that fact, our reaction might be to get defensive. Why are you persecuting me? My coffee cup beliefs. This is how I express myself. And yet, as Oliver Wendell Holmes once famously put it, my right to hit a man ends where his nose begins. My right to personal self-expression reaches its limit when it actually hurts someone, intended or not. No one could have a sort of a legalistic mindset, I suppose. Here's the rules, here's the policies. Step one toe over the line, and the board, the minister, and the UUA are all coming after you. Did I mention that Bev, the one who will tackle you at coffee hour, is also the board president and will put that on the board's agenda on Tuesday if you try? Okay, just wanted to make sure you do that. However, what if instead of asking ourselves, what are the rules that are going to get broken, we asked a different question? Which relationships got damaged? What harm was done to people, and can it be made right? This acknowledges that our beliefs cannot ever be fully divorced from our actions, behavior, and spiritual practices. To come at the problem in terms of rules and punishments is to operate from a creedal mentality. Break the rule, and our first move out of the gate is excommunication. We have judged you. Our relationship is over. Enjoy the fiery torments of hell. But to consider the situation in terms of our relationship, look at things we can learn from covenant. Covenant asks different questions. What are the qualities of the relationships we want to have? What will we do for, to, and with each other to make these qualities come to life? That's why covenants, from everything your wedding vows to our church's ministering affirmation that we spoke but a moment ago, all contain promises. We make promises to each other about our relationship so that we might say something to the effect of when we form a community in which, we want to protect people's right to have bare feet, and they're affirmed in all their unique ways, that we will create a community that is safe to walk everywhere without fear or favor of glass shards or Legos or jacks. Step on them. It feels like one of those sea anemones you see on the floor. Oh man, I hate those. But anyway, covenant is relational. It understands that our ideas do more than just kind of float around in our brains. They shape our assumptions about the world that have real consequences for other people, perhaps in ways we cannot perceive. Reminds me of my friend Mel, who told me this story, which he shared with his AA support group. Years ago, when he was drinking, Mel was doing what you shouldn't. He was driving drunk. Unable to stop in time, he swerved into his house too fast and crashed into the wooden fence between his house and his neighbor's. Being drunk, he just kept going on to his house. Later on, his neighbor comes over to Mel's place, asking if he knew anything about this fence that had gotten destroyed. Mel denied knowing. A year or so later, Mel's in AA. The fourth step is to take a searching and honest moral inventory of all the instances in which drinking has harmed someone. Later on, step 9, one goes to make amends. Mel knew what he had to do. In talking to his sponsor, he started rebuilding the fence that he had destroyed. His neighbor, perplexed, comes out and asks, "What is he doing?" At which point Mel said, "I broke your fence. Now I'm fixing your fence." Interestingly, step 9 is not about asking that person for forgiveness. I had a colleague in a 12-step program minister I worked with who came to me to make amends. And I sort of learned a little bit about this from her. If I ask you to forgive me for something, at some level that's making the whole thing about me and my doing wrong. And what does forgiveness do? It might give me some of that sweet relief of peace, but it doesn't repair offense. It knows intent to destroy offense by driving drunk, but in a way that doesn't matter. We have to look at this from the neighbor's point of view. The fence remains broken until one makes amends by fixing stuff broken. What if instead of taking this person out at coffee hour, Bev explains to them why destroying coffee cups hurts others and isn't something we should do in coffee hour? Okay. Reverend Josh will read your pamphlet on how to effectively shatter Corningware. This person sweeps up the shards of glass and ceramics and apologizes to anybody who might have been upset, having realized that their breaking of coffee cups has harmed people, either physically or maybe just scared them. This person changes their behavior. Now, their beliefs may not have changed. We've not asked them to disavow the great god of Pyrex. Just don't go breaking coffee cups in his name. Not out of disrespect for that person, but for the mutual respect of the whole community. And I'll say this by way of aside. As I was writing this sermon, I had a lot of fun developing what the religion and or theological belief would be that prompted one to throw coffee cups at coffee hour. And that's a really interesting and fun thing to do. To imagine what their beliefs might look like. I like the great God of Pyrex. That's how I understand forgiveness to work in our relational covenantal setting. It's less about judging each other as worthy or who's a better you than someone else, and therefore they require forgiveness. Covenantal relationships, on the other hand, are more about coming together to proactively build something that reflects our values or principles and people first. It could be a church or a congregation, but it might be something smaller than that, like our food security programs, like the community meal and the donation station. Those are good examples of the value of generosity. In our reading this morning, President Sophia Betancourt talks a good deal about love, really divine love in this case. She paints for us a vision of what this can look like. One of the first things I noticed about Sophia Betancourt when I saw one of her early YouTube addresses, I was like, man, she likes the word beloved. She says it a lot. You ever notice when someone uses a word over and over again? Like, it must mean something very specific about this. It's very important to her. So I was very glad to read this article because she kind of unpacks that word beloved and what she means, at least some of the time. My interpretation of that is that beloved is a state of being loved by some mysterious force. The content of whatever that mysterious force may change from person to person. For some it might be Christian, for some Hindu, Muslim, so on. But the source of that love, not knowing the source of that love, is fine, because it may not actually be knowable. Some mysteries are unknowable. And besides, the name of the source of that love isn't actually what's important. The relationship I have with that source of love. When we give up, just maybe for a little bit, the need to define what the holy is and how exactly it works, we make some space for what it means to be loved. Interestingly, from what I can tell, we are loved by this mysterious force, whether we feel it or not. But that worship service that she described, because those colleagues felt secure in the bosom of a worshiping community that they could safely be themselves. Only when we are assured of that safety do we make ourselves risk being vulnerable to others. These relationships have the potential to help us go very deep and connect to people. But to get there, you have to have some sense, some reliability of what those qualities or promises will be and how we make them to each other so that we can safely be whole. The beauty of the covenantal way of religion is that it brings a different perception of how we move in the world and in our local community. One friend put it as he felt the sweet relief of peace after a lifetime of feeling guilty for every sin and misstep in his youth. Unitarian Universalism is that, and has been, that sweet relief for many. And yet, it isn't true that we get off the hook entirely. Living in covenant means we are accountable to each other. If I've broken a coffee cup in my relationship with you, hurt you somehow, maybe in a way I didn't realize, then it's up to me to fix it. The two people in that relationship can sense if things are broken or not working or there's conflict. By looking at that covenant of right religion, are we moving closer to what it describes, or are we further away? Forgiveness that evolves organically by both parties being in direct communication with each other and using covenant not as a source of judgment, but as a reference point for the quality and health of the relationship. Covenant isn't a creed where you score points or lose points by lining or not lining up your ideas to it. It's just a guide that helps us understand if we really are living into our values or just fooling ourselves. Thus, the covenant can be prophetic without being judgmental. May our covenant guide us toward becoming the beloved community that we are called to be. May all know that they are beloved by that unknowable mystery properly so called. And may we be good to call each other beloved. Amen. And blessed be. I invite you now to rise in the ways that you are able and join in singing hymn number 121, We'll Build a Ladder.
What is crucial to us all. Reverence for all life, unity that displays itself in love, deep, abiding truth.
The song about covenant renewal. Rob Eller Isaacs writes, "For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible, for each time we have struck out in anger without just cause, for each time our greed has blinded us to the needs of others, for the selfishness that set us apart and alone, for falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit, for losing sight of our unity, for those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness, we forgive ourselves and others. We begin again in love."